Hey everybody, it's Brad.
And I'm Christa.
And I'm Claire.
With the Big Family Homestead. And today, our video is going to be a little bit different because it's unscripted questions for a teenager.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, we are talking with teenager Claire. And I thought it'd be really a good idea to just kind of pass some information. I mean, we've gone through some big changes in the past year, moving from a very metropolitan big city to a micro town.
Very rural area.
Yeah, Cincinnati has just under 400,000 people living in it, and where we're at right now has around 1,000. So that would be a little bit of a thing for a teenager.
Yes.
And also, teenagers in homesteading, self-reliant life, farming, all of those things that you want to do for yourself as much as you can. And so I figured I would ask away. Claire doesn't have any clue what will be asked.
Yeah, I don't either. You never know what's going to happen.
Come flying out of my mouth?
Nope.
That is true. That is very true. All right, so Claire, may I call you Claire?
I mean, I guess that's all right.
Okay. Whatever. Making sure. Protocols, you know. Okay, so moving, let's start out with moving. Big city to small city. What is your initial reaction? We've been here a year now.
It's very quiet. And I mean, there's noise everywhere. There's animals, there's tractors going by, there's ATVs, or excuse me, wheelers, as they're supposedly supposed to be called up here. There's a lot of noise, but it's a lot quieter than in
Frogs.
the big city. And it's a noise that's more peaceful, I'd say. And that was one of the first things when we literally first pulled in the driveway. I was like, wow.
There is nothing going on.
There's no traffic.
Yeah.
There's no light noise coming off the cities. There's not
1,000 ambulances and
every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So initially, just a basic, oh my gosh, this is a whole different environment that's completely flip-flopped.
Yeah, and something else that was kind of interesting was when I was first talking to a bunch of kids my age, as soon as an ambulance would go by, everyone would get super concerned. They're like, who is that? Like, what's going on? But where we come from, it's just like, oh, it's just another ambulance.
Oh, because since the numbers are so small here that it could be somebody they know.
Yeah,
Right.
A lot of people get really concerned when they go by. And for me, I guess it's not as much of a bad stigma. It's just like, oh, they're going to help people.
Well, yeah, and one thing that we're learning about farming life, there's a lot of danger that goes into what they do. The machinery can quickly get out of control if you're not just super diligent. And so I can understand exactly what you're saying, that if the ambulance is going by, man, oh man, that is serious concern city. So, okay, things that you maybe miss from the big city.
Not really much, honestly. I mean, I feel like we were made for this kind of living in small community where it's like almost like it's family. Even if you've never met the people, you still hear their names all the time, and you can get to bigger places. You can get to the stores that are like an hour away, but everything you need is right here. And I think that's what's really nice, and so I don't really miss much.
So you're saying you don't miss going to BW3s?
No.
No? No
Not
Bengals
Outback?
football games?
Never went. That's a
Bengals,
waste of
really?
time.
Waste of time.
Yeah.
And money.
So, all right, now tell me the difference in the kids. Is there a difference or not? From the big city, what are they like there and what are they like here?
Okay, let me get started here.
Uh-oh.
So,
Pull up a chair, folks.
big city. Everybody is super prim and proper, super clean.
This is stereotypical.
Stereotypical. When we lived in like downtown, like that's where it was.
The very
I saw
money
it.
area.
Yes.
Money area.
And just didn't really know what hard work meant, complaining a lot. Now, this is not everybody, but this is a pattern that I'd see consistently. Here, people aren't afraid to get dirty. They're not afraid to try new things. They're not afraid to go out of their comfort zone and work. And they're just honestly kinder than a lot of other people that I've met in bigger cities. And I think it's just because you're in that small community and that's where you've been all your life, and you just really want to reach your arms out and invite in new people. And I like that because I can have similar conversations with people here and they're going to know what I'm talking about. And not just like, oh, you have a cow? That's disgusting.
That is true.
Ew,
I mean,
you have a cow?
There was one example. I was going to church and I had a good friend who I thought was a good friend.
In Cincinnati?
Yes.
Okay.
And I had milked the cow that morning. I was out there. I did my chores, and then I took a shower, and we went to church. And I walked in, and I was clean. I always try to keep clean. She's like, wow, Claire, you smell like a cow. And I'm like, okay. But she meant it in a very derogatory way. So I think that's a huge difference, is people are not, they're not going to call you out if you don't smell
the way they think you should.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, were there any surprises to the way that the kids your age are here? Did you think that, oh my gosh, I had this preconceived notion of what they were going to be like, and then when I got here, they were different, or was there anything like that?
I thought a lot of the kids would be a lot more, this is going to seem kind of derogatory, but they'd be a lot more like a small country, not as smart, but there's a ton of, like, everybody is wicked smart, and it may not be in the ways that you think. I mean, I can look at every kid in my school and I can say, this person is good at this person is wicked smart in this, and if I know that I need help with something, I know exactly who to go to. And it's just, kids are a lot smarter and a lot more level-headed, I think, than I had preconceived notions about.
Now, when we actually moved, it was a little bit different for you because you weren't actually here when we looked at the property. You were away on a missions kind of a thing. And so was it difficult for you to adjust, or were you just ready to be done with the big city kind of thing?
I was completely done with it. I was done with being super close to people. It was bittersweet just because you're moving several states away. So that was really hard.
Yeah.
But it was a really good thing that I knew needed to happen, and I knew I had never seen the house before. I didn't know what to expect, but I was like, this is where we're supposed to be. And even though it doesn't feel good, I know it's going to be good for our family.
How long did it take you to level out?
2 weeks, give or take. I mean,
Oh wow, I thought it would have been longer, to be honest.
no, because as soon as we got started, like, fixing stuff and making sure everything was the way it was supposed to be, everything started to go in its place within, like, furniture and that kind of stuff. I was like, this is home.
Yeah.
And I hadn't felt like there was a place that was home in a really long time.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I actually felt that way too.
Yeah. It was like, in previous houses, it was just like, oh, this is my house. Welcome to my house. But whenever people come over here, I'm like, this is my home. This is where I want to be. So.
Any advice for kids making that switch from a big city to a small city?
Be open-minded and try not to think about too much stuff before you go and overthink about what you think people are going to be like. But really just be open and just dive in, and you never know what blessings will come your way if you do. Just come in an open-minded state.
Cool. All right, well, let's switch gears to more like the homesteading side. And I'm going to ask something, and you got to ask a question, Mama. You got to come up with something, baby. You got to come up with something. So be forewarned. My first question will be homesteading. You can also put in there farming or self-reliant life. Those folks who are out there trying to make and do and be as much as they can without having to run to the store for every little thing. Learning new skills, learning about how to make your food, how to do the garden, all of those things. Now, as a teenager, it's not a very common thing unless you live in a small town that people even have any idea on how to do those things. Through the years, how have you come to a knowledge that, like, this is just what we're going to be like? Because we have not been this way your whole life.
Mm-hmm. So at first, when we first started homesteading, we first started getting chickens and bees in a garden, I was just like, no. I do not like this at all. I don't like getting dirty.
No.
This is not my life.
She
I was
fought it.
mad. I fought it. And then the more and more we did it, the more I was like, oh, this is not so bad. I get to see little babies, which, as
Who
if
doesn't
you've
like
been
baby
here,
animals?
then you know that I love babies.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see the benefit of your work. You get to see the outcome, and it's not for just to do it. It's not hobby. It's purpose driven. It's something that's important, and that other people can even benefit from the work that you're doing. And I see that a lot with a lot of the bigger farms around, because they're selling their milk, or they're selling their cheese, or they're selling their crops. And that's just, I think the more and more I thought about it, the more I matured, the more I was like, this is really cool. And this is something I'd want to incorporate in my life.
That is super cool. Mama, you got a question, baby?
All right. So out of all of the chores that we have to do here on the farm, which one is your favorite?
My favorite.
And now understand, we rotate chores. She doesn't do the same thing every day. We rotate so that it's kind of, there's a variety, so it doesn't get so monotonous.
I would say this doesn't happen very often, but my favorite is probably helping when there's a baby that needs to come. Or I like to feed our cow Dottie.
Yeah.
She's a calf. She's a baby still.
Yeah.
And she licks me.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we're going to have trouble with her, because when she's 900 pounds and wants to be with you like a dog, play with you.
Because that's what she does.
She does. It's funny, too, because when I'll go out there to give her milk, she, like, circles you like a shark getting ready to attack its prey.
She goes in for my leg.
Okay. I have something even funnier that happened this morning.
What happened?
Well, I went out because I forgot to plug the electric fence back in, so I went back in there to go plug it back in, and Dottie comes up behind me and just starts bumping me in the rear end.
Yeah,
Well, if you don't know, calves will use their face and bash their face into the mom's milk sack.
Udder.
The sackage.
To release more milk to come down.
Yeah.
So that's a natural reflex.
So she saw the booty and thought...
She saw me, and I didn't actually even have the milk anymore. She had already finished it, and she comes up behind me wanting more. Sorry, that's not where that comes from.
So, finish your question on chores.
Okay, so your favorite is when babies are born. Okay, now what's your least favorite chore?
I know.
Either cleaning out the pig pen or waking up in the morning to milk at like 5 o'clock, because it depends on my schedule for school. So sometimes I have to wake up earlier, sometimes later, but during the winter a lot of times it was super early. And it being -20 and dark, and your fingers, doesn't matter if you have gloves on or not, they're still going to be frozen.
It's going to freeze up.
So I think that was between those two. Frozen pig dookie.
Frozen pig dookie. So...
But milking the cow now in the morning is not so bad, because the sun rises at 5 o'clock in the morning here in Central Time. And so...
I will say one thing that I think is really super neat that you may or may not want everybody knowing, but I'm going to tell anyway. She'll sing songs to the cow.
Only when nobody's around.
Yeah, but she sings like praise and worship tunes and as she's milking. And I don't know, do you think it really makes a difference? Because I think it does.
I think it does. She's more friendly. It's just a conspiracy, but she's more friendly.
Conspiracy?
She's more friendly and she loves me more, and she just has a better day. You know, you got to start your day off right, and so I start her day off right too.
All right, so you're going to have to come up with another one, but I got one now. Working. The actual act of I get a chore or a project or a task, do you feel like there's merit in working just for the sake of working?
Yes, I do. I mean, obviously, I'm a teenager, so sometimes I'm going to complain about it. But in the end, if you know how to work hard, and if your parents really instilled that in you, that it's important work, and it's something that you're going to see the results of, I think that you'll just be better off in the long run. Because even if you don't go into farming, or even if you don't have animals when you're older, you're still going to be able to work hard in your workplace, and your boss is going to notice that.
You can apply it to whatever situation you're in.
And then you could get raises, and it would just be great.
Yeah. So I'm feeling like for the win, Mama. All right. So question for you, baby.
I'm drawing a blank.
Drawing a blank. Well, I would have to say that for maybe the final question, if you were to encourage another teenager that might be making that same jump. Oh, actually, before I ask this question, there are other YouTube channels that you could check out to see because there's kids that are doing, the homesteading thing, the farm life. They're getting it done. And one of our friends would be, and they're in a very suburban setting.
Yes.
The Goin' Batty channel, GOINBATTY. They do a garden, and they do all kinds of different self-reliant stuff, and they're right in the middle of the city.
Yep.
The Texas boys, those guys, they're a little rambunctious. Not gonna lie, they're rambunctious, a lot of energy.
Yeah, well, the Texas boys, they wanted to start their homestead, so they were the ones that spearheaded the stuff that they're doing, and Mom and Dad said, okay, go with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of channels out there that the families do get involved, and I think it's really encouraging because maybe I'm old-fashioned, maybe I'm born 50 years too late or whatever, but I really identify more with an older generation in terms of work ethic and morality and family and faith and all of these things that I feel like are slipping away right through our fingers as a society, and we're watching it happen. And so when I see Texas boys and Goin' Batty and Claire and other teenagers who are out there and are going, I really don't care what other people think about farming or being self-reliant. I'm going to do it because it's the right thing to do. And all of those attitudes, all the morality issues, and I don't really care what everybody else is doing. I'm going to do it the way I know is right.
Right.
And so I'm very appreciative of that. So the last question would be, if you knew of somebody who is coming from that situation, big city, maybe not having a lot, what would your advice be to them?
Just try. I mean, that seems kind of stereotypical, like you gotta try new things and blah, blah, blah. But you just have to try, and you have to give it your everything, because if you only give half of your effort, then it's going to not work out anyway. I mean, it might work out a little bit, but you're not going to really feel the good pride of the work that you've done. So just try your hardest, I guess.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Claire. Appreciate you coming by.
It was my pleasure.
She had to come down from her room, which is a mess. We got to talk about that. I'm just kidding. I don't know what her room's like.
I have one basket of clothes. The rest is the girls.
Yeah.
And it's contained in a basket.
So. Yeah. Most of the mess is Ruth.
She's a tornado. She's a human tornado.
She really is.
Yeah, it's bad.
Everywhere she goes, there's a mess. Oh, there's markers right over here that Ruth left.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it for today. Hope you liked the video. Leave a comment down below. Do you know somebody who's doing the right thing and they're a teenager? Because I guarantee you they could use the kudos. It will go a long way. So I'm Brad.
I'm Krista.
And I'm Claire.
And
oh yeah.
Oh.
So I got this shirt.
Jeez, oh Pete's.
I got this shirt from my parents, and it's a Braveheart quote, and it's amazing, and it's a good movie. I
didn't think she was going to throw that into the video, but there it is, Braveheart.
Have an amazing day.